exhausting because, yes, at times empathy may get exhausting. When did it surprise you? And because if we, whenever I ask people what is empathy, I get this cliche response that it is wearing someone else's shoes. So, a line that we have heard. And now I would want that together, let's explore this sentence, that how we define empathy in our own language in moments when we really wanted to feel it, and also in moments where we could be empathetic towards others. So that's what we are here for. No rules, no right answers, but we are here for real, heartfelt conversations and to learn from each other's experiences. That's the purpose of this particular podcast.
And one small request, while we have always kept cameras optional, this time we would love to see each other. So if everybody can switch on their cameras, it will be nice, as we are only 7 of us. And we have been seeing each other alternate Tuesday or Thursday. So we are familiar with each other. So you can feel free to switch on your camera. That's why we have kept the group small, yes. And to create a safe space where we can look at each other and talk with each other. And it will be more personal. Otherwise, I feel like talking to somebody's wall. So please try it. To our regular audience, especially, yes, you all are our regular. Welcome, Rahul. Yes, Niti.
Yes, Rahul, even you just missed. We were requesting everyone this time to switch on the cameras. So if it is possible for you as well, Rahul, please. Otherwise, of course, we are not pushing anyone if you are comfortable. So right now, just to set the context, I will share a situation. It is just to set a context. Post this, let the discussion flow. Let it flow in whichever direction that we want to. Imagine a scenario where a close friend, now I am mentioning a close friend, keep it, take it, be it a close friend, be it a member of your own family, your relative, your cousin, take it anyone, but somebody with whom you are very close and you share a good bond. They call you because they are going through a tough time. They call you, they went out, you listen to them, you sit with their emotions, you comfort them. Maybe even that hold the space where you let them vent out emotion in any form, be it anger, be they want to cry, just complain, whatever. You just give them that space to do. That happens. It happens again the next week, and again and again, and it becomes a pattern. So it's been almost a year or more than a year that you get this call regularly now. Same story, same pain, no shift. You cannot see any change. You hear them talking that they want to come out of a situation. You hear them, they want to feel better. सब कुछ करना है, पर ग्राउंड लेवल आपको कुछ नहीं दिख रहा कि वो लोग कुछ कर रहे, करना चाह रहे हैं, दैट इज देयर इन देयर एक्सप्रेशन, but in their action there is nothing that you can see. You keep listening, but slowly you find yourself getting tired. Now again, I'm using the word tired. It is a scenario. Please understand this entire situation, and you may replace this word to whatever you feel like. Now, because it is happening regularly, there are days where you try to push them. आप बहुत समझाते हो, उनको बोलते हो कि हो गया, बाहर निकलो, तरीके भी बताते हो, ऐसा कर लो, वैसा कर लो, बाहर निकलो. At times, you lose your patience. You may even start avoiding one or two calls. फिर लेकिन guilt लगता है कि क्या कर रहे हैं? Why are we avoiding when we know that person is in pain? You calm yourself down and you start listening again. Now, The question is, was that still empathy? First, do you still feel that is empathy? Do we feel that empathy also has a shelf life? Okay. And one last question. Does it just evolve when our boundaries start speaking up? So, where exactly do we want to, or we are able to draw that line between being there with someone and feeling emotionally drained? So, that's the scenario. Let's take it up. Yes, Abhijit. Abhijit, over to you.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, now I will not get into get into my definition of empathy because I hope at some point we will also talk about our own definitions of empathy. So I'll hold my answer for that. To specific these three questions, I'm going to club it and just say, first of all, it's very subjective to I mean every individual as to what their thresholds and their boundaries are, right? It's almost like saying, not exactly related to my statement, almost like saying, how much poison can you drink before you can say, now I'll die? So it can be one boond bhi or it can be the whole bottle. I don't know. Everyone's immune system is different. Everyone's threshold is different. So for me, empathy begins from you first, right? Now, you empathize yourself first. And as you rightly said, Niti, it might be a very close person, family, friend, whomsoever. But there is a point where you get tired. And I'm going to use that word tired because that's an interesting word where you need to understand your tiring point. And once we know what our tiring point is, after that, what we do is not empathy. Because after that, we fake empathy in terms of saying कि अब मैंने because साल भर कॉल अटेंड किया है तो अब अगर मैं अचानक से बोल दूं कि यार you know what, don't talk to me. if you if I see any change in you and if you feel that you know what, you have done some change, then come to me, then I'll talk to you. अगर मैं ये बोल दूं तो उसको कैसा लगेगा? Hence what I'll then do is every time I pick up the call I'll be like hmm. And after a while it will show in my reactions. Now I have stopped empathizing with myself, let alone the other person. So we need to understand where is first of all our empathy level in terms of how much can I empathize myself first to listen to that particular thing. And the moment I know it, I would say draw the line there. And I have done that. That's the reason I'm saying draw the line there. Say that we have discussed this. And you can be assertive at the same time. You can make sure that the other person doesn't feel hurt. But we have discussed this a lot of times. We have discussed a lot of options as well. Next time when you call me, I want to at least hear one action that you have taken, just one. Even if I see one action, which means 0.01 progress, I'm okay with that. But I want to see that. Only then there is a point for me even to hear this. And I'm going to ask that person that, and then are you okay? So that is where I draw my line of empathy. I'll say next time onwards now, I'm just going to be a sounding board where if you don't get responses from me which are probably appropriate that you feel I should be giving you, if you stop getting that, are you okay with that? Because next time, say, I'm going to just hold my phone and say, hmm. And you don't even know. I might be doing my work. I might be doing something else. Are you okay with that? I'm going to be very clear about it. Because now I'm going to start to empathize myself now. कि मेरे में कितना bandwidth बचा है. So for me, there is a threshold. Threshold is very to summarize my answer. Threshold is very subjective. Start empathizing yourself first. Only then you can extend it to others. Either stop with a very polite note or tell them that going forward, no further responses on this problem. Because what I do not definitely want to do is I do not want to fake empathy, ache, or I do not then want to be called I don't want to call myself a foolish person to listen to the same thing again and again. जहाँ पे मेरे को पता है what the next sentence is going to be of that person. I'm in no mood to do that. Absolutely no mood. So that's the thing. And as last point, as you said, na, Niti, that हमने बहुत समझाया, we gave him or her the options. That also means we have kind of already got involved in the situation, know the situation in and out, and hence giving out solution. इससे ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं. Now I'll start empathizing with myself and my sanity. That's my answer.
Interesting. Bhanumati ji, your take on this.
Rasmi,
Okay.
before we proceed, if you can uh, give the context so that Rasmi can understand, because Rasmi came later on. A little
Okay.
bit, if you can, in one line, if you can give the context. Yeah.
One line में तो नहीं हो पाएगा चिरदीप, but I'll try to keep
Go
it
ahead.
brief. Hi Rashmi, are you there? First of all,
She may not be able to speak, but yeah.
Yes, I'm very much here, but I'm traveling, so there's a lot of background noise. But I'm listening. I just joined in. I was listening to Abhijit Paranste. Yeah,
all
and I
right.
saw your topic related to empathy. So if you can give me some context, it's absolutely,
Of
otherwise
course.
it's absolutely okay. I'll just listen in
No,
and
no.
figure
We
out.
have to give you a context, Rashmi. It's very important because this time we are not doing the usual podcast. We've just shared a scenario, and this time it is more of taking input from everybody and defining empathy, because empathy का theoretical definition हम लोग सबने पढ़ा है, but now we want to know how empathy has been in our own life. So quickly telling you the scenario. A friend calls us regularly, calls us first time, where we listen and understand that the friend is in a situation which is disturbing for that particular person. We listen, we validate, but that calls continue for a year with no progress at all. To a point that we, as Abhijit mentioned, that we know what the next statement would be. There is no change situations, but everything, the pain, the maybe the even the scenarios are similar. So the person wants to get out but is not able to take any action to bring the person himself or herself out of that situation. Now what is our role? So at times we get tired, we get irritated, we start avoiding, we feel guilty, calm ourselves down, come back, again attend the call. So my question here was that, is this still can this still be called empathy? Does it have a shelf life, or when does it evolve, or how does it evolve when our boundaries start breaking up? So that was the context. And now Abhijit had given his views. Now it's Bhanumati ji. So Rashmi, if you are there and if you can also contribute, we would appreciate that. Bhanumati ji, over to you.
Okay. For me, I literally don't agree with the classical definition, putting yourself in another's shoes. By literally putting, if I have to put my shoes inside Abhijit's shoes, definitely it's going to be a misfit. I will not be able to fit in. Forget about understanding. So basically, for me, how the shoe is for that person, I can only understand through conversation when they say how the shoe is for them. Other than that, it's practically not possible for me to insert my shoe, not unless and until the other person tells what it is for them to be in that particular shoe. I'll not be able to understand. So for me, showing empathy is just being authentic. I don't have to look overtly warm and fizzy, listening to them. No, it basically comes out through authenticity. If the person who is talking to me, if they feel heard and valued, and I generally, actually, I practice as a solution focused breach therapist. I even train psychology students in solution focused breach therapy. So we have a standard format. When a client or whenever somebody talks about it, we use their language only. So exactly we use their language. We don't do paraphrasing, the usual thing, reflecting and all. No. So when we use their language, they feel heard. So empathy gets expressed, and they feel that we are paying attention to them, and then we ask questions in such a way that they will be able to benefit out of it. So mostly my job, whether it's my client or my friend, is to ask, after listening, I just give the frame the question, what are your best hopes from talking with me? So I'm clearly redirecting them. It's not just I'm listening to them. And of course, advice is a strict no, no. We all know who are in the mental health field that advice, no suggestion, no advice. Because if that would have worked, then we all have our stack full of advice, free advices to distribute. but nobody is willing to listen. So I generally ask my client or friend, whoever is, what are your best hopes from our talking together? So naturally, it's a redirection. They will talk about their hopes, and they will be, then you infuse hope in the client, because hope is more powerful than empathy. And then the conversation, how it will look when they say, this is what I'm hoping, this is my best hopes, and how, what difference it will make. And then I directly go into the future, how their future will look when their hope is present and all. So they don't need not have to keep on saying the same thing. They also get a clear direction, and then that's how you steer the conversation. And if you're not very clear, there are listening techniques where you can ask the right question. You have it in meta model questioning, NLP meta model, where you do pasting and leading. You paste and then lead them to their desired outcome. So that's how I do it. Even for friends, I do it in a subtle way. I don't behave like a therapist and all. Then I do it in a very subtle.
Interesting. Thank you so much for sharing that, Bhanumati ji. Now, this is a very, I would say, kind of a professional way, which, yes, Rashmi, please go ahead. We would love to hear from you.
I hope you're able to hear me and there is not much background noise that's going to disturb. Let me know if it is. Your
Right now, it's
question, your scenario is very interesting, Nidhi. And the way I look at it is very situation based and very role based. So if I'm looking at the situation as from an angle of a friend, then purely from my perspective, empathy is not needed. I think the friend is just looking for a sounding board and has got habitual to basically keep dumping what is going on inside of them. So if it was a real friend, someone very close to me, I'd probably, hello?
yes, yes, we are listening, Rashmi.
Yeah, you can hear. Okay, okay. I
Yes,
just
now we
the
can.
screen just closed. So if it was a close friend, I would probably call them out and tell them that it's not going to work. They need to start becoming accountable for what they're feeling and what actions they're doing, despite giving suggestions or being the sounding board. If something has not worked for over a year, then it is not going to work beyond a year as well. So I will definitely be very assertive as a friend. If this was targeted to a coach or a trainer, then again the approach would be different. And I agree with Anumati. There are ways in which we can take the conversation ahead, because as a coach, you're dealing with an individual who's in an unresourceful space, and it's our job to bring them to a resourceful space and not linger too much in the past. So the questions that will be there will be very present and future focused. So from that perspective, I will focus on the language or the communication part, um, empathetic communication, so to speak. And somewhere I will try to attempt to make the coaches see uh, what is it that is amiss. And as a trainer, obviously, it is my job to explain what empathy is. So it is very situation based, I feel. If your case study was more to do with a friend, I would not make much attempt on the empathy after 1 year, because I mean that's just the way I would react. I don't know about the rest, but it's like आपका दिन खराब हुआ और दोस्त एक है कोई बंदा सुनने के लिए, तो उसको फोन करे, उसके ऊपर उल्टी कर दो. So it doesn't work, and you have to somewhere draw a line, draw boundaries, especially even if it's a friend, because you have to make them see that it's not right to just playing the victim card or seeking pity all the time. You have to make them see that aspect. So that's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rashmi. And before we proceed, Shehzad, Priyesh, Rahul, any inputs from your side? Certain situation?
Yeah, I wanted to speak. I
Yes,
hope I'm
please.
audible. Sorry, I
You
was
are.
not able to raise my hand. I'm not a professional, so my answer would be from a personal point of view. But I'll agree to all the people who have spoken earlier. So what I see is, if some similar thing happens more and more times with the same person, with the same kind of things happening, or whether he or she is going through similar things, and we see that whatever things we are either suggesting or showing empathy to, we are not getting any proper response, or they are not taking any action towards that, or we just feel that whatever we are telling them in response, it is just or they are just using us as somebody who's just there to listen to us. So I think there is a limit for everyone to provide the empathy. So after certain period of time, there is no limit of empathy. I mean, there is no unit of empathy. We can say like 10,000 units of empathy I have for this person. But I think it is actually there. If you don't get any output out of that, I think after certain period of time that start degrading, and we become just from an empathic listener to we become just an active listener, and then we become just a listener. So I'm just there for you to listen. If you're saying, I'll listen to it, but on the back of my mind or in my heart, there is no emotions or there is no empathy coming after a certain period of time. If there is no value of me speaking or me empathizing with you is coming up. So that is how I see it.
Wonderful, Priyesh. Thank you for bringing that in. And I completely agree. That is what I was about to say, that we all are not professional. And at times, despite being professional, not every relationship we can bring out that essence. So, and especially, Chiradeep would agree, especially when we are dealing with family. Yes, Chiradeep?
Yeah, the context was actually Niti kept it friend, but I made it more difficult because I have lived experience on that. I have a family member who keeps on talking the same thing, revisiting the same past, same story all over again. Whenever he or she, I'm just making it okay. He or she talks about them. So it's very difficult, and I quite agree with Prius because, um, and as Niti also said, it's not very easy. All these 8 core competencies and these core values and everything goes blank when it comes to family member, and you have to just listen. Probably that active listen changes from active listen to passive listen and just listen. And Priyas also mentioned that. Yeah, but I feel that as we evolve as a person, professionally and personally, um, I still remember the exercise which Avijit uh, asked us to do. Um, Asked us to do last time. Introduce yourself. Who am I? Okay. The more I explore myself, the more I evolve. Because once we explore ourselves, we try to sort out things, take out the negative things, and learn positive, and we shape ourselves towards growth, and we evolve. So as we evolve, our qualities and characters, they also get polished, and they also evolve. So I believe, in my case, my empathy evolves with me. And as I can see my own life, the way I was empathetic towards that same person, I am more empathetic after some time. Okay. And there is no right and wrong questions, as we have already said it. Because, I mean, everybody has said the right thing. And we have to know, according to the situation, we have to know what exactly we have, which button to press. Sometimes we have to be assertive. Sometimes I was assertive. Sometimes I was loving. Sometimes I was very compassionate. And assertive doesn't mean that you shout, but you can be lovingly, you can draw the line. We do that. Sometimes I have shouted. Sometimes I have just to stop the person. Come on, give me some break. I need, my empathy level is gone down. Okay, like we recharge our batteries, our phone batteries. So the same way I feel, till I get my tank filled with more fuel, till that time I need some time, my own time, so that I can get that empathy tank filled in, so that I can show that to someone else. That is my perspective, and I keep evolving and keep working on that. When we were discussing about this idea, I was like, okay, this is good, and I give a lot of thought to it. What can I answer? Because there is no right and wrong answer. As Rasmi said, it's situational. Yeah, I'm keeping professional thing out, because professional thing is different. But when it comes to family, it's very difficult. I know it's very difficult, but I feel we evolve, our empathy evolves. That's what I think. Yeah.
Okay. Bhanumati ji has something to add.
No, actually, I wanted to ask Chiradeep, you were saying 8 core competencies. I would like to know more about
Okay, so I guess we'll keep it for later then.
that. Okay, okay,
Chiradeep,
but then I'm curious to know what they are. So
Okay.
do share it with.
So,
Rashmi.
Rashmi.
Yeah. So, yes, I mean, I appreciate everyone's perspectives and talk about family aspect. Based on what you said, Chiriti, um, it appears like this person seems to have a chronic fear, right? So, as a family member, we of course can give them a listening ear and we can talk them out of certain things. But if someone has a chronic fear, then the only right way to help them overcome it is recommend them a doctor or a therapist, because there are certain things that are out of scope for either us as professionals if it is not in our discipline, or even as family members. So अगर आप देख रहे हैं कि किसी को potential में fear है, उनसे बात करने से या उनको समझाने से ये fear नहीं जाने वाला है. As much as empathy is employed in the process, or as much as active listening, passive listening, whatever it is that we do, it is not going to address the root cause. And I'm saying this because you mentioned it's a family person. So it is always best that something like this is handled by the right professional. So, and I've personally experienced this with some of my family members also. I think after a certain age also, क्या होता है कि there are certain changes in body hormones, left लीजिए, body hormones and other physiological changes, which calls for certain medication, perhaps, I do not know. But I believe that that is an option that can be explored. Thank you so much.
I agree with
Okay.
you, Rasmi, 100%. They need professional help. Yeah, Niti, please go ahead.
All right. Now I'll just bring it again to the few pointers that I could take out from everyone that we spoke, all of you who contributed, and please let me know. So my next question is, as you all mentioned, so is there a shelf life? So as Chiradeep also said that he wants to go back, recharge, and come back. So is it that we exhaust our empathy? We feel that और नहीं हो सकता, and do we have to reach to that level, or is it we can take a call before only and draw a line? Again, what makes us go to a level where we feel exhausted and we feel that we can't take anymore? So when, and as Abhijit mentioned, that when we reach to that level, we are not being empathetic to ourselves. So yes, why do we do that to ourselves then? And this time, I am sorry, I'll just make a disclaimer. Let's talk as laymen, because professionally A few of us are coaches, are counselors, so we do understand. But while I'm asking these questions, because these questions are is what we come across every time. So our purpose is to understand from a very layman perspective. हम लोग समझ सकते हैं, थ्योरेटिकली पढ़ा हुआ है, अप्लाई कर रहे हैं क्लाइंट्स के साथ, तो हम लोग बाकियों के साथ अप्लाई कर पाते हैं. लेकिन जिन्होंने नहीं पढ़ा हुआ, जो ये नहीं कर पाते, उनके लिए what is it that we would like to say? Yes, Abhijit.
Yeah, so real life, uh, my perspective, it's it's difficult to know that particular shelf life of our own empathy. It's very difficult. Reason
Exactly.
because it's a person close to you in a personal life, and I'm not going to talk professional because at a professional level, I'm very detached anyway with my clients. Uh, I don't get into their problems. So
Sorry, I would just exactly, Abhijit, this was the point that I was not able to make, that when it comes to relationship, you rightly mentioned, we are not detached. We get impacted.
yeah, and hence it's it's difficult for me to define the shelf life of my empathy when it comes to my loved ones. However, taking Chiradeep's point and taking Priyesh's point, which they mentioned some time back, we will understand that with the experiences that we get when we empathize. So the more I'm empathizing with a person of, I mean, a loved one, I might come to a conclusion, and this is where self introspection helps. I might come to a conclusion after a while कि अरे अब मेरा ना empathy level, या तो ये हो सकता है कि मेरा empathy level, attention level इतना कम हो चुका है about people कि even if they are my loved ones, if they are going to come and just whine, I'll be like, तू रहने दे. You know, it's okay, rather I be alone than to have my life. मतलब I don't care how much that loved one is. या तो we go to this an oscillating effect, या we go to this, or we evolve so much that we are like, I won't say we become detached, but then we also try to see that there is less impact on us. So there is no definition of a shelf life, but yes, there is a shelf life, and that shelf life again is very individualistic. It happens with experiences. It happens with your age, and age and maturity has nothing to do with each other, but it happens with your experiences and the way you have looked at experiences. If I decided to look at my experiences where I have empathized with people in a way that कि इतने लोगों का मैंने सुना, इतने लोगों को मैंने बताया, किसी ने तो कुछ भी नहीं किया, लोग बकवास होते, मेरे को आगे से सुनना ही नहीं है, I might choose to do that and hence not listen going forward, forget empathy. Or I might be like, you know what, I did my job, मुझे अच्छा लगता है, even if they are my loved ones, मुझे अच्छा लगता है. Ultimately, all I'm going to be there is I'm going to be there for them. My shelf life might increase about empathy. So there is no definite answer from my perspective, Neeti. There is a shelf life, and every one of us will know their own shelf life as to when can we say that I cannot be more empathetic now. I'm done. Even if with the complete loved one, I'm done. I can't let go that person of my life, of course. They are not going to let go of me, but I'm done with this particular aspect or situation. That's it.
Okay, before I go to Bhanumati ji, Abhijit, whatever, I'm just putting these questions before I forget. First of all, I would want to know from everyone now that we are talking about empathy and we are talking about empathizing with self. So, what does that mean? What do we mean when we say that we need to be self empathetic? That's question number one. Second, when you say it has a shelf life, and then when we feel, जो अभिजीत ने अभी बोला, दैट इतने जनों को इतना कुछ बताया, कोई कुछ करता नहीं है, आई नॉट डू. तो क्या एम्पैथी का मतलब ये होता है दैट इफ आई एम टेलिंग समवन टू डू समथिंग, दे डू इट, आई शो यू मोर एम्पैथी, दे डू नॉट डू इट, भाड़ में जाओ, now I cannot talk to you? Is that what we want when we are showing empathy? Because somewhere I have seen people, when they feel that I have been so empathetic towards you, I have been listening to you throughout, तुम कुछ करते तो हो नहीं, मैंने, I was there for you throughout, but you did not take any action, so what's the point? So, does when we become empathetic towards others, do we have some hidden expectation? Does it give rise to some hidden expectation? Not that the other person will be for us, वो तो होती ही है, but also whether we have this hidden expectation that the person will do what I have said. Though I have a third question also, but I'll hold on to my questions. Bhanumati ji.
For the question that you asked now, I'm listening to them and they will, I'm showing empathy, they will listen, they are not doing it. That actually reminds me of, in the name of care and concern, we want to control others. Does it amount to that? हमने तुम्हारा सुना, अब तुम मेरा advice सुनो. See, in the name of care and concern, I'm trying to indirectly control them. This apart, I want to share one incident when I became a newly. I started late as a therapist after my retirement. When I was practicing as a counselor, and just as you said, differentiate between client and your near and dear one. I didn't know to. I actually you don't have to differentiate because once my daughter was talking about her problem, and predictably I was giving her all the advices, and she turned and said, "You are a therapist. You are a counselor. Is this the way you deal with the clients? You give them advice." See, that hit me. So, in order, even when your dearest friend talks about something, you don't have to reach that level where you can't take it anymore. So, and you don't have to be a therapist also, even a lay person. Okay, you give them a fair amount of time to talk about their problem. And then again, as I said, in order to show that you are empathetic, all you have to do is you have to be authentic. You don't have to enter into their shoes and all that. When they are talking, through their conversation, when they are explaining their situation, you be authentic. Then subtly you can ask them, what is it that you are expecting from me? You don't have to be a therapist to ask such a question. If Neeti is sharing her problem, I can ask Neeti, what is it that you are expecting from me? Because कुछ तो सोच के तुमने हमसे बात किया है ना. So that's how you redirect the conversation. You are not putting them off. The moment you ask them what is it that you are expecting from me, and they will tell you what it is, and then you can ask them what difference will it make. See, subtly you are redirecting them from the problem talk to solution talk. Wheel को घुमाना है, that's it. See, because I'm a solution focused brief therapist, but that doesn't say you should practice only as a therapist. That is it's a way of living life in a solution focused life. So first conversation itself, as a lay person, you can ask them what is it that they are expecting from me, just to listen. They may say, we just want you to be a sounding board. Okay, suppose Neeti says, I just want you to listen to me. Then I will ask her, what difference will it make? So I have to set your thought process. Will you have to? So instead of telling you by take responsibility, do something about it. In a subtle way, I'm redirecting that direction from problem talk to solution talk. So you need not have to be a therapist. You just try it out when somebody tells you what is it that you're expecting from me, what difference will it make in your life. Definitely, they will not keep maybe next time they may come with something else, but they will not be doing the same thing again and again. When do you get caught up in that? When you are poorly differentiated. If you are poorly differentiated, you get enmeshed in others' problem also. So you if you are not differentiated, they get the message. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to advise them. Nothing. They will take. They will only
Okay.
tell you what they want. You can just try it out. It'll work.
All right. So that is the answer. Now, Abhijit, your hand is raised. Unmute.
This is what I'm going to do. My hand is raised and I'll keep it raised. I'll answer at the end because let others speak if they want to. Because this time when I answer, I'm going to give my definition of empathy and then probably give some background. So I don't want to, bombard it with my answers right now.
Okay.
But my
Okay.
hand, I'll just keep it raised. So ignore me till the end. Thank you.
All right. So yes, who would like to? Madhvi, you've joined late, but your contribution to the discussion, please, about empathy. Rahul, even yours. Empathy. What is self empathy? Now we have come to the second I would say, let's call it second round, where we are trying to understand that what is our breaking point and why do we reach to that breaking point. So when we are saying that we have this self empathy, what is self empathy? Rahul,
Hope I'm audible.
yes, Rahul, you are.
So basically, there are two aspects of it. One is like whether you are acting like a doctor and staying, you are an active listener, you are giving the person time to totally wash themselves out, or you are getting emotionally connected with them. So if you're totally staying detached, then you may not reach a stage of peak after which there is no empathy. But if there is like a emotional connect, or if you're building emotions and feelings between the two people, then you will reach a point where the like you will feel disconnected, like they are trying to uh, pour themselves out and you're giving a solution, but the same chain is continuing. There is no change in their behavior.
Okay, thank you, Rahul, for that. So now, Rahul, you can be on mute again.
Okay.
Shehzad, Priyesh, Madhvi, any input from all of you?
Hi, good evening, Neeti and everyone. So sorry I joined in late actually. I just got back and I'm as usual in the kitchen trying to dish out the dinner. I mean, prepare it. I was hearing everybody's experiences and insights. Very interesting about empathy. Empathy, I feel, is when we feel the pain of another person and we try to do something about it. That is empathy. There's a difference between empathy, sympathy, and apathy. Uh, so today, or in today's world, we need to have more people with uh, having empathy for others, because then only we can understand what they are going through. And I don't think there should be any conditions attached to being empathetic. That since I am empathetic towards your needs, so I expect the same. That would be like being, you know, it is not empathy then anymore. It is becomes business. I think empathy is not transactional anyways. That is my point of view. uh, Everybody can have their own points of view and we have a difference of opinion. That's great. uh,
Thank you
as far
so
as
much.
empathy for personal self, yes,
Yes.
we need to understand our strengths, weaknesses, understand where we can rise above our weaknesses, because we are human beings, we're full of so many blunders. We create blunders every minute, I feel, uh, from our thoughts, from our deeds, from sometimes our words also, which can be hurtful. Like for instance, I can just ask a person who's sitting across, like, hey, how are you, how was your day? But perhaps the other person is not in a receptive mood to listen to that. They had a bad day. So this just very one sentence as how was your day can push that person, away from you. Or maybe that person can retaliate, can work both ways. However, you are in a good high state of mind. You're happy, you had a good day. So you want to, explode your stuff onto that other person, ensuring that they listen to you. But that cannot always happen, because the other person may not be in a receptive mood to listen to you. So we need to see that. We need to understand that through facial expression. Maybe you know the person. Maybe the relationship is such that you understand and empathize with that person. So, yeah, there are many things to it. So that was just in a nutshell. So empathy again means like understanding the pain of the other person and then trying to do something about that pain, trying to put a solution across. That's what I feel. And the same is applicable to your own self. So sometimes we don't forgive ourselves for the mistakes we make. So we must sometimes learn to forgive and let go of things which we cannot control. It's beyond us. But that doesn't mean that we go into bad habits. So that doesn't give you a right to, become a bad person. Everybody is good basically at heart, because we come from the same source, I feel, which is light, and light cannot be dark, although it has to traverse its journey through the darkness. This is a
Interesting.
copyright thing. I've written about it.
Thank you.
Those were some
So,
very interesting and philosophical inputs, Madhuri. But what are you cooking, by the way?
pardon, sir?
नहीं, मैं बोला very interesting and philosophical inputs, but खाना क्या बना रही हो ये सब करके?
Oh, okay. You're most welcome. Please come home.
Yes, I will. Yeah,
All of
just
you,
tell me what
I'm
to cook.
making kaddu.
Oh, wonderful. That's the reason you're inviting us. Thank you, Madhuri.
But
Good.
kaddu can be very tasty, believe me.
ठीक
If you
ठीक
make
है.
it in a chatpata way, which is the way
Okay.
I like to cook.
Good. Wonderful. Chalo.
Yes, the
Thanks,
way my
Neeti, for
family likes.
letting me hijack the food part of it. Go on.
No, I'm so sorry. I joined in late. I missed a lot of it. I'll try to cover through the recordings sometime. And so sorry.
That's wonderful of you, Madhvi, to join in. But
Yes.
here again, thank you so much. Priyesh, you wanted to add something.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, I think Madhvi had put the point what I was trying to say, but I think what I wanted to add to that is, I think the empathy means our ability to understand the feeling and emotions of somebody and maybe act accordingly. And for some self empathy, it is all the same. It is the same, but sometimes we forget it, or it becomes tough when it is for our own self, especially when we are taking care of somebody like our own family member. So I just wanted to put that, sometimes empathy is easy and self empathy becomes tough when our own loved ones are involved.
Wonderful point, Priyesh. Thank you for bringing that. Now, here goes my next question. So, what should we do then? As rightly mentioned, that self-empathy takes a backseat when we talk about when a family member or a very close one is involved. So, what should we value? Just maybe everyone can give their what should we value? Self-empathy or empathy towards others? Chiradeep.
Both are valued. We can't discard.
Okay, we'll just take whom to value right now. So Chiradeep says both. Okay. Rahul?
Like you need to value both, but at least you need to value the other person. Otherwise, you are not going to be an active listener.
Okay, so we take Rahul's answer, both, but a bit more other than ourselves. Okay. Shehzad?
Yes, ma'am. I think self sympathy first, empathy first, because अगर हम ही जिंदा नहीं रहे तो सामने वाले को हम लोग और क्या ये करेंगे? I'm sorry for my
Yes.
Hindi, but first it is ourselves, and I might sound selfish, but a little bit of selfish is there, because if we are not alive, so how are we going to help others? और उन लोग को मदद कर करके ये तो यही होगा कि राजा का खजाना खत्म और राजा खत्म.
Got it.
I hope
Shehzad.
got my point.
Absolutely. Priyesh? Question came from you.
Yeah, I would say self empathy is more important, because unless we are taking care of ourselves, we cannot take care of anybody else. Even it is said in the plain announcement that you have to take care of, fasten your seatbelt before you help anybody else, right?
Absolutely. Agreed. Rashmi? Have you answered it already in the chat? I've not checked.
No, I've answered something else. To answer your question presently, I will go with what Shehzad and Priyesh said. Self-empathy is important, but unfortunately, that's not what we do. It's always the other way around.
Yeah, so जैसे अभी picking up on what Madhvi said about the cooking part, अगर आज माधवी सब्जी नहीं बनाएगी तो वो हमको कैसे खिलाएगी? So basically, self-empathy is definitely crucial. If if we don't have it as a value within, then how are we supposed to add value to someone else's life? But
Okay.
यही education missing है, because we have been conditioned to live our lives कि दूसरों के लिए करो, सब कुछ दूसरों के लिए करो, खुद के लिए कुछ टाइम नहीं बचता है, कुछ अवेयरनेस नहीं बचता है. Yeah, so that's my answer.
Thank you for that. Bhanumati ji, your answer?
Yeah, I totally agree with Shweta. Charity begins at home. Jesus Christ ने बोल दिया है. So charity begins at home means it starts with self. Whether it's love or anything, it starts with self. If I can't recognize and understand how I am feeling, my needs and my experience without judgment, how can I understand what Niti is feeling or what Chirajit's needs are, experiences are? So I totally agree that first me, then others.
Great. Now, Abhijit, before you answer, I'll add another question. Am I allowed to do that?
It's your podcast, Niti.
Okay. Thank you for reminding me that.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Now, interestingly, I believe theoretically we all say that self-empathy more than others. We say that. But when it comes to somebody whom we love a lot, value a lot, and is close to us, that time I believe and I have seen a lot of time that remains a theoretical concept, and we still go ahead and cross our boundaries, cross our threshold, be there for the other person despite getting drained. So, Abhijit, what is your take on this? First of all, have you seen people doing it? And if you have to, I would not say advise, but what would you tell? How is it that can be channelized? Mute पे हो अभिजीत आप.
Self-empathy, how that can be channelized?
सेल्फ एम्पैथी और दूसरा ये कि जब सामने वाला इज वेरी क्लोज टू यू, you just there even if you don't want to, but out of that love for the other person you are just there even if it's draining you. तो वही वो चिरादीप ने जैसे बोला कि आप ब्रेक ले लेते हो, रिचार्ज करते हो, फिर आ जाते हो, फिर वही करते हो, तो आपके वो ब्रेक्स बढ़ जाते हैं बट आप करते वही हो to help the other person come out of that situation.
Okay. So I'll give my definition of empathy first, because I think the moment. Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, of course.
Okay. I'll give my definition of empathy first, because once I give that, probably my answer might become automatically easier for the questions that you asked. My definition of empathy, when I say empathy, I take empathy to its base level. I never start empathy because it is about a person or someone. For me, empathy has three shades. First is understanding, or rather trying to understand what the other person might be going through. Right? No one is forcing you. You have to understand. You can only try to understand. Point number one. Point number two, uh, if you are empathizing with someone, that does not mean you have to agree with everything they say, accept everything they say. The least you can do is acknowledge. And the reason I take it to this base level in terms of empathy is because the moment we talk about loved ones, friends, family, whomsoever it is, it's automatic that our empathy level is going to be high with them, because we have a relatability with them, we have love for them. There are many other factors and emotions that overpower the capacity of being empathetic, because वहां पे already प्यार है, या फिर you have chosen that friend because they are your family friends. Friends बनते कैसे हैं? Friends relatability से बनते हैं, because I have a relative high amount of relatability with someone, my connection with them is going to grow. So automatically my is going to be there for that person, and that empathy is going to be at one point overshadowed by my love for that person, my care for that person, my concern for that person. Right? So, यहाँ पे, all I'm going to say is, for me, empathy goes to the least level, which is acknowledgement. And the third is then okay, empathy, that is the most powerful thing of empathy, that empathy does not ideally, if you are empathizing really with someone, you are trying to get them out of that situation by not giving advices, by not giving suggestions, but by saying, what is it that you're going to do about it and what support you need from me. Now you may ask this question in any other words you want, with a lot of pyar, hug, smile, kiss, whatever you want to do, based on your relationship with the person. The point is, you tell them that you're there. Now, how do you channelize this? Now, as Chiradeep said, that he has to go back and recharge his batteries and come. For me, the way I do it is, I now this is something I've done with practice, and this is a very heartfelt thing that I'm saying. This is something I've done with practice. I've got impacted with certain people's thing that they keep doing, even if they say this is something I'll never do, this is something I want to do, this is something I will never go for, and then still they still do it. They still are on the edge of doing it. Now that impacts me. But यहाँ पे comes self empathy, that I'm aware that it's impacting me, and I will work on myself for that. And then I'll raise my empathy level for myself first. That okay, if this person is important for me, then I cannot make it an ego issue कि अगर इस बारे में ये इंसान नहीं सुन रहा है, then you know what, let this person go out. Hence, what I'll do is, here now I'll mix self empathy here. Okay, what is hurting me? That my friend said, you know what, in my life this is something I'll never do, but my friend is still trying to do that. Okay, that's that friend's choice, his or her choice. अब मैं खुद को अगर उससे इम्पैक्ट करने लग गया, that means I'm not being empathetic towards myself. Now I'm completely getting involved in that particular situation. Here I'm going to take a step back and say, okay, let me be aware of this impact that is happening, but what's the least I can do? I can be there for the person to start with. And if the person really has to go through that process, then I'll keep empathy and everything aside. I'll just be there with that person as a matter of love. And this is what I've done time and again with even my close friends, where now, even if I see someone say talking about the same topic or doing the same thing, my impact is almost zero. Almost. I'm not going to say zero. Almost zero. This happened with a lot of practice of increasing increasing the self empathy and some empathy shelf for myself. Hence, the answer to your previous question is, for me, it is only self empathy, uh, rather than empathy towards others, because no self, no empathy towards others. Simple as that. So if you want to channelize, you go through this and you start becoming aware. What's impacting you? Why is it impacting you? Okay, उस person के लिए प्यार है इसलिए it's impacting me. This is the basic answer. Okay, right. But why? Why you? If the person has decided to go through something, and if that this person is supposed to go through that process at a more philosophical level, just be there for that person and first try and understand, empathize with yourself. Why am I feeling like this? Why am I getting so bothered? Can I increase my acceptance level and expectancy from low from this person, and increase the acceptance because this is my person and I love the person more than the situation? That is where you empathize with yourself, is how I feel and look at it.
Wow, interesting. Chiradeep, before we go to Bhanumati ji,
Yeah,
I guess
I
it's
just I just wanted to just add to what Avijit just said. I remember we had a podcast on why we do what we do, and we overdo. Sometimes we overdo, sometimes we overcompensate. But things, why do we do that? The reason is, before what Avijit said, I agree with him here. Because if I have that self-interest, I feel good about it by doing that, then I have to, I mean, grow my, I mean, level up, go another level up in regards to empathy or whatever it is. Otherwise, I'll be, I mean, if I don't do that, then I will be tired. I'll be, all the negative things will follow after tiredness, irritation, frustration, and so on. Okay, all the stations will come and and sit on my head. So, so I think if we have self-interest, because why it is easier for us to be what we call empathy, empathize with the other person outside our family, because uh, we don't have to do we don't have self-interest. We just have to listen to their interest and just help them. Okay. But when it comes to family members, it becomes very difficult. It becomes very difficult. And there, if you don't have self-interest, then you have to think about setting boundaries. Okay. There are, if I keep continuing discussing this, it will be too much. It's already 9:08. Yeah, we will listen to Bhanumati ji, and I think we will end here.
Quickly listen to Bhanumati ji and summarize this today's podcast.
Yeah, actually, I'm a little confused. Why do we need to empathize? See, basically, when somebody comes and talks to us, they have their own agenda, positive intention or secondary gain. And by being empathetic, if we think we are going to bring a change in their life, sorry for my language, that is bullshit. Unless and until they want to change, they are not going to change. How much ever you show empathy, care, concern, everything, they have an agenda behind coming to us. So if as long as their agenda is getting fulfilled, they will keep coming to back to us. So it is not whether we are empathetic or not. That is immaterial for them. So we need to, as Chiradeep said, Abhijit, they all rightly pointed out, we need to know where to draw the line and uh, uh, what is it that they are trying to achieve by coming to us. That is very, very important. We need not have to use theoretical jargon, that therapeutical jargons actually, but we can subtly find out what is it that they want to get from us, whether our own family members or outsiders. As Chiradeep said, when it comes to our own family members, our agenda is to, in the name of care and concern, control them or influence them, change. That is, we also have an hidden agenda behind being empathetic actually. So we can choose to be selfishly selfless or selflessly selfish. That's
All right. Thank you so much. That was
And I just wanted to conclude over here. Say empathy is not trying to attain a certain goal. Empathy is making the person accepted whatever he or she shares. Unless the person feels accepted, he or she won't be able to share. So that's what empathy is. Then the agenda goes on. Okay. So I just wanted to clarify that, because empathy is um, not empathy is not shown to bring change in somebody else's yeah
That's
life.
why I was confused. I wanted to know exactly why do we have. That's what I wanted to know.
That's what we all wanted to discuss, that the way we look at empathy is quite different. And with this, I guess we'll conclude. I am not going to share uh, any takeaways, because I guess this podcast, because we've all been talking, we have all taken our own takeaways the way we wanted to. But I am glad that we all came here, we opened up, we shared our views, our opinions. To channelize or to set a context, I gave a scenario, but at times the scenarios are also very different. So, as we all mentioned, it's situational. But what we all can conclude is valuing ourselves. That is the closure of this particular discussion. That is how we would like to bring it to a close, that whatever we do, the person in front of us might have an agenda, might have a reason to come to us, but what is our reason? As Abhijit beautifully mentioned that part, which I really liked, that is, why is it impacting us? So if a person comes repeatedly to us and it impacts us, so instead of venting or losing our patience, first of all, we need to check with ourselves why and what is it that is impacting us. If I can take care of that impact, keep it separate and again go back to that person, wonderful. And then again, that question comes whether the person is more important or my care for myself is important. So it is situational, it is subjective. And I am very sure we all are doing beautifully in our own lives, in our own situations. Just in case we want, we all are here to support each other. Right, Chiradeep? Any closing notes from you?
Yeah, earn 10 rupees for yourself to donate it to someone else. That's the closing thought.